Hey everybody, welcome back to the practice video.
Yay!
And this is our video for the South Orange County Church, where we take the things that we're learning and the things that God is teaching us, try to go a little bit deeper with it and actually put them into practice. So I wanted to say happy Thanksgiving. And,
No, happy Advent!
Happy Advent. Well, happy Thanksgiving was for last week. We hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
But,
And
it's
hope
old
that
news now.
That's true. We've moved on. So Thanksgiving was last week.
Look at our happy little space in our home.
That's right. If you only look
We
right
have
here.
a tree.
If you only look right here, it looks really good.
We may not have walls,
If you look
but
directly
we have a
above
tree.
us, not so
Don't do
good,
that.
or over there, not so. But right
So
here,
we're enjoying it.
that's right. We got our tree up. We got some
I
decorations
got
up.
some tea.
Got some tea happening, and we actually are really excited to be heading into the Advent season. And hopefully you've been getting the daily quiet time. So thank you, Tracy, for writing those.
You're welcome.
And those have been coming out. If you are not getting them in your email inbox, you
Please
can let me
us
know. And want to be sure to put that on there.
Yes.
If you want to share it with some friends, and
away.
send it to them. We can add them to the daily list if you want. Just send us their email, and we'll add that to the.
We got a pretty big
to the
list
list.
going of
We do.
people that are watching outside of SOC.
Yeah.
I mean, got about, I don't know how many, 30 or
Yeah.
35 right
Yeah.
now?
So yeah, people that are not in Orange County that are also participating with us in this season. So that's
fun.
really cool. Wanted to just follow up on last week. I'm sure that last week was crazy for a lot of people, and you may not have gotten to watch our little practice video last week. But
Yeah, I think there was only like 60 watches when I saw
60
that.
views, yeah. So not everybody got a chance to do it, but we're asking for help and for people to just participate with us and help us make the Heritage Project really great. So this is an opportunity. If you got like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe 27. But we wanted to ask you if you would help us as we're building our library of Heritage Project videos. We're also going to be building this library of kind of games and quizzes that goes along with each week's lesson. And that's where we could really use some help. So go back to last week's video, check that out. And if you would be willing, and I'll put the link on this week as well, but if you would be willing, we would love to have you, help us with that and join in with that.
It's a great way to jump in helping the next generation come to know God.
Absolutely. So, as we are, heading into this first week of Advent, we really wanted to be able to kind of connect on this theme and on this idea, and be able to take that a little bit deeper. The whole idea of Advent is that it is a season of waiting, and we are waiting for Jesus to return. And so it's good for us to hearken back and think about what the Jewish people would have been feeling as they were waiting in that period, that 400 years, between the Old Testament and the New Testament. And all these different things are happening. But then they're waiting for the Messiah to come, and they're waiting for Jesus to be there. And so now here we are, Jesus has come, and he has shown us what his kingdom can be. And then he has promised that he will return. Yeah. And so now we're in this place of being joyful and grateful for his first coming, and then waiting with incredible anticipation and hope for his second coming.
Yeah. I was just going to say that this is where all the parables are that Jesus told about staying ready, like the virgins and the oil and all of that. This is where they all come to life, where you are using this season to actually remind yourself, oh yeah, I should be ready. Right. It could happen tomorrow. It's that kind of anticipation that we're supposed to be cultivating during this time, or being reminded of, because that can get, that can get buried throughout the year, but it's during this time that we need to awaken ourselves to the possibility that Jesus could come back tomorrow and live as if that's really true. Right.
So during this 4 weeks, each week there's a theme that we kind of focus on, and we try to draw out lessons that what can we learn about this theme, or what can this season of waiting teach us about this theme. And so this first week we're focusing on the theme of hope. And hopefully you all got to talk about that in your services this past Sunday. If you had them, I know many people were out of town, and we kind of talked about it the Sunday before. But the idea this week is to focus on hope, and this concept of looking forward to something and hoping that it is going to come true. Mm-hmm. The Bible talks a lot also about putting our hope in God and putting our hope in Jesus. And so, looking forward to that. And so as you're thinking about this idea of, okay, I'm waiting for Jesus to come, and while I'm waiting, I'm going to have hope. And I love even the passage in Romans 12 where it talks about being joyful in hope.
Right.
And that while I'm hoping, while I'm waiting, I'm going to find that joy even in the middle of that. But hope is a curious thing because
it can be dashed pretty quickly.
It can.
It's crazy.
It can. There are hope blockers
yes.
In this world. I think the enemy throws these things at us all the time to try to diminish our capacity for hope.
Yeah, it really does feel like a candle to me.
Yeah.
Hope really does feel like a candle because when you're lighting a candle, there's so many things that can blow it out.
That's true.
And so there's so many things that can extinguish our hope.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to start with today is just sort of, identifying in our own lives what are sort of the hope extinguishers for you.
Right.
I know for me, it can be the attitudes of the people around me. I can take those on. For example, so just a little theoretical example. Hypothetical. Maybe you're planning this great night where you're excited because your whole family is going to be there and all the kids are there, and you've come up with this great way that you're going to talk about our Christmas presents and the money that we can spend and how we can encourage one another. You're gonna decorate the Christmas tree, and it's going to be great, right? Mm-hmm. And it is for like 5 minutes. I don't know what happens.
I don't think it lasted that long.
No, it didn't. It probably didn't. So I had high expectations of that family time together. And I can't even tell you. I wish that I was wise enough to tell you even what happened and why. But all I know is that sometimes life with teens and adult children can take turns that you weren't expecting.
We're not expecting.
So anyway, that's one of the hope extinguishers for me is like the attitudes of people around me. If I'm in a good, I'm like, I'm feeling great, I'm so hopeful. And then like, wah.
It happens all the time, just in relationships in general, whether it's with your family or if it's in your marriage or maybe people, your small group or something like that. You can get this expectation in your mind of this is what this is going to look like. Mm-hmm. And for us, I think in this situation with our family, there's a lot tied up in that. It's not just we wanted to have this moment with the family, but it represented a lot, especially with everything that's been going on. You got the house going on, and then Jacob was going to be home for the weekend, and maybe his girlfriend was going to be here. And so we had these expectations of like this, progress within the family.
Yeah. And that really is truth.
Right.
There has been a lot of progress in the family.
There's been a lot of progress in the family, and the kids are all growing, and there's good stuff. But I think we somehow really wanted this moment.
To be further along. Yes, that's what we wanted.
We wanted this moment of like, we are making progress. Look at this, guys. Look at this, everybody. Look how awesome. We're so good. This is great. And it just did not. No. It did not go that way at all. The flame went out. It was doused.
Oh dear.
But I mean honestly, that it did extinguish my hope.
And we were on our way to our small group thing for that night.
Right. Yeah. This is just a couple hours before our small group thing. Wow. And we planned it so that it would set us up. We'd have this great family time. Then we go to our small group thing and talk about hope and Jesus and we love him. And, I'd come just straggling in, okay. Okay, come on, but it affects my hope, and even today, the day after, I'm feeling the effects of that. Yeah. And not just that moment, but like I said, everything that it represents.
Yeah, because it does get extreme after that. Sometimes you can let yourself go. I know
does.
I do. It's like, this is forever. We're broken forever.
Yes.
This is never going to change.
Yes, all those dreams come up in the dark. Yeah. There's a great Lord of the Rings reference about that. I'm not going to go into it now, but it's so good about dreaming in the dark and what happens, how our thoughts in the dark can really get out of control. And you just got to wait for the light. But not anyways. You have to wait for the light. Right. Like it actually is good. And it's true. Yeah. Like to go, okay, I'm not going to let my thoughts run away with me, even though I feel like my hope has been extinguished, but it hasn't, because I need to remember that my hope is not in how this particular moment went with the family.
Yeah.
My hope is actually in Jesus.
Yeah.
And I have to hold on to that. That's what my hope is in.
Yeah. Another hope killer or extinguisher is, even biblically, it says that hope deferred makes
yeah.
the heart sick. So
Right.
I know I'm still within my wisdom realm because I'm just simply quoting a scripture. But I do know that, when you are praying for something and it goes
Yep.
on, and then year after year, actually, I think that's what the quiet time is about. But the one that we had for this morning, now that you're watching that, for Tuesday,
yeah.
it's about waiting and what that can do to you when hope is deferred for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's hard. And so
one.
if you're wrestling through, I thought my family was going to look a certain way, or a relationship with one of my kids was going to be a certain way, or my marriage was going to be at a certain point, or that we were going to be able to have kids in this way.
Yeah.
Or that I was going to be able to find a spouse.
Yeah.
And that my life would look like this by a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
When those things have not yet come to pass, are you able to still have hope? Because when that hope has gone on, and you feel like it's year after year, I'm praying for that, then it really
It can
does
make you sick.
It can make your heart sick, and you start to go, I don't know. And then we're supposed to come together and let's sing joy to the world, and you're like, I don't know if I'm feeling it. Sometimes we don't know if we're feeling it, because that we want to have that hope. And so this is where, these things can extinguish our hope, but we have to hold on to the things that give us hope.
Yeah.
And we have to bring our attention back to Him who does provide hope for us. I love in Isaiah where it talks about how Jesus, or the servant, the coming Messiah, is going to be the hope for the nations, that all the nations will put their hope in Him. And because this idea that we're going to put our hope in Jesus, what He does and who He is, and the life and the kingdom that He shows us, that is what our hope can be in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot that is working against that, against us, against that vision of the kingdom here on earth. There's a lot that's working against us, and we have spiritual forces in the heavenly realms that are constantly fighting against us. But we can actually choose to focus ourselves on who He was and allow that to light that flame, fan into flame that little ember of hope, and kind of bring it back to go, no, I do have something to hope for, and I really can hope in this.
Mm-hmm.
In Isaiah chapter 40, one of my favorite scriptures, says that even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint.
Yeah. When I read stuff like that, I realize just how many times I put my hope in outcomes. I put my hope in what I think should happen, or the thing that I'm picturing in my mind, the thing that I've set up. And yeah, I put my hope in circumstances changing instead of putting my hope in God. Like, no, He doesn't really have to change anything. And I can still have hope because my hope is in Him.
Right. Psalm 62 says, yes, my soul, find rest in God. My hope comes from Him. So we can look at that, just this, instead of the outcomes, my hope is in He who actually holds it all together. Colossians talks about in Him, in Jesus, everything is held together. And so that's where my hope is going to go, and that He is going to set all things right. He's going to bring about all things together in the end, for good for those who love Him. I want to hold on to that. So we want to leave you with this passage here, Romans chapter 8, verse 22.
Yeah, this has really been speaking to me lately.
Yeah.
It says, we know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. Not only so, but we ourselves who have the first fruits of the Spirit groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for our adoption to sonship, the redemption of our bodies. For in this hope we were saved. A hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently. And I would just love to hear right now, I'd love to hear you, what stood out to you, what, captured your attention I have so many things that capture my attention here. I don't want to, be giving all of, making you think what I think or getting out of it. I'll just leave you with one from me. And it's just that thought that, the whole world knows something's wrong. The whole world, what the secular world, the religion, everybody knows, man, seems like the world's going from bad to worse.
Yeah.
But it says that even the Christians, like even us who have God, are yearning, like we're groaning inwardly, we're eagerly waiting. But what are we waiting for? We're waiting, we're hoping to be revealed as God's sons.
Right.
We want to inherit, we want to get to our adoption, that adoption day that we're all looking forward to. Because what that represents to me is that the dad is there. The dad is home and everything's going to be okay.
Right.
And that's what I can put my hope in that. That's for sure. Even though I'm not sure everything that's working out around me.
Yeah. So in your groups this week, talk about the things that can extinguish your hope. And then talk about what enables you to be able to put your hope in God. Like, what is it about Jesus or about the Father or about the Spirit that inspires you and reminds you deep in your soul that I can put my hope in God? And what is it about him that draws you to that, so that we are waiting patiently as we are continuing to hope, that we are waiting patiently for God to do the things that he's going to do. So keep reading the Quiet Times, have a great discussion with your group, and we look forward to seeing you on Sunday morning.